Welcome back to another demo. I've been doing a fair amount of work just trying to get some other VR aspects up and running, interpreting controls and whatnot, so I'll just demonstrate what I've done. Mouse-wise, I have basic movement happening. There's no collision, so you can just walk right through the walls, but I'll get to that. And then you can also run. So if you notice, there's a speed difference. But what you might also notice is that as I move the mouse around, it seems rather smooth. And that's because I have a slight amount of interpolation happening while you're moving the mouse around. It actually takes about 40 milliseconds for the screen to catch up to where the mouse is. But what that does is it introduces a bit of a delay if you're trying to spin quickly. So for a hardcore first-person shooter, that wouldn't work very well. So if I turn off smooth mouse and resume, now you might notice that as I move the mouse around, it jitters a little bit, but the response is immediate. It's moving exactly according to how the mouse is being moved. So little jitters in the how you're moving the mouse will translate to jitters on the screen. Smooth scrolling is good for story-based games where Twitch play really isn't all that important. So I just wanted to provide that option. Let's see, what else? Also want to demonstrate that I now have a controller hooked up that I can use to look around. So this is spinning in the same rate as Portal does. And you can move around and look around. And you can also, you can also start running. And I have it toggling, so you press the button once and you run, press the button again and you stop running. The what else? Another thing I did not show for the mouse was you can have a toggle or a hold mode. So right now I'm in hold. If you hold shift and then relift, you speed up and slow down. If you use the run key toggle, then you tap it once and you just permanently run even though you've lifted the key, and you just press it again to walk normally. So now I'm going to switch over to VR. I'm going to get rid of the Steam VR stuff so that I'm actually looking at my application is active and isn't interrupted by the Steam VR pop-ups. So I'm looking around now with my mouse pointer, and I have the controller now tagged to work with that mouse pointer, so I can now work the menu with my headset. So that's cool. I can also move around with the controller, and it does quick turn. You can also do a quick turn around if I want. So that's nice. But if I want, I can switch to continuous turn so that while I'm in VR, and this really makes me ill. I do not like playing like this, but some people are willing to play like this. They're more than welcome to. And looking around, this is me looking up and down with the headset, but I can spin myself with the controller. And then snap turn just turns me without any sort of a transition. It just immediately turns you in the new direction, and if I do the turnaround, it's immediate. Another aspect I wanted to demonstrate, I'm going to switch over to my hand controllers now. Whoops, wait a minute. There was one other thing that I needed to demonstrate. That if I'm running, again, I can use the joystick toggle to run faster or slow down. Okay, so now I'm going to switch over to the VR controllers. I don't know why. I thought I set up a different button to bring up the menu, but that's all right. So right now I'm sitting in my chair, and this footpad is showing me where I'm normally centered. And if I click the Reset VR Viewpoint button and I face in this direction, it now resets me to be directly on the footpad. This way, if I want to resituate my chair or I want to resituate myself in the chair to reset myself, I can do so. There's a sitting VR option. So what that does is it makes me proper game height as if I'm standing, but I'm sitting in my chair. And if I look down, the footpad is floating above the floor because it's adding the extra height in order to get me to the proper game height. So I'll go back to sitting. And now I'm moving with the VR controllers with snap turn. And I think I'm in running mode now, so I'll hit the joystick, punch the joystick button to slow down. Yep, that works. Some of this stuff I'm trying out for the first time just to make sure that it works. Let's do continuous turn and see how bad that is. Yeah, this would really make me ill. I mean, I could slow it down if I want, but it's just kind of awful. Whoops, there I can do a quick turn too, or a quick turnaround. I prefer the quick turn when I'm turning so that there's some visual indicator of how I'm turning around. Now I'm going to stand up. And since I'm now off center, I'm going to reset my viewpoint. And that puts it right at my feet again. I'm going to change my eye width scale so that I'm huge. And it still keeps the footpad right perfectly lined up with the floor because I'm standing. And let's make myself tiny. And it's still... That doesn't seem lined up with the floor very well. I'll have to figure out why. It's a little bit off. Little bugs to work out here and there. So let's reset to regular height, and I'm going to swap over to red-blue. And again, I want to demonstrate how the footpad, if I'm sitting, and I reset my viewpoint, I'm now at a proper game height, but the footpad is floating above the floor. But if I set my controller on the floor, it's lined up with the floor just fine. So this allows you to play a VR game where in the game you're supposed to be standing, but you're actually sitting in a chair. Let's see, what else can I possibly demonstrate here? I can be a giant and still sitting, and the room looks tiny. I can reach through the walls, I can look through the walls. I don't have any collision detection at all yet. That's coming. I wanted to do physics next, but I ended up taking care of these kinds of things first. Let's see. Let's go down to tiny scale. So now the room is gigantic. And this is still floating above the floor. Let's move around a bit. Okay, so I'm not slowing myself down by scale at all. I'm moving at a normal human speed, but I'm tiny, so the floor is going to be going by really, really fast. And if I change the, if I change my eye scale to 4 so that I'm huge, and resume, I'll be walking very, very slow. I'm planning for giant size to walk faster than a human, and for tiny size to run slower than a human, but scaled in a way so that the movement scale is a bit different. So we'll see how that goes. All right, I think that's all I really have to show off for the red-blue. I'll swap over to the Barrel Distortion now, so that we can see what all this stuff looks like in Google Cardboard. So I'm still sitting. Whoops. And you can see the footpad. Taking up the difference between my height in the chair and how tall I need to be in the game. So I'll move around a bit. I'll do a run. Swap to continuous turn so you can see how completely disorienting this is. I would probably change the VR turn to be slower so that it's less nauseating. I'll probably need to do that. These are all little things that I can tweak along the way. Let's swap over to being tiny. See, this isn't so bad. When you're closer to the floor, the spin isn't so bad. But I'm going to swap over to quick turn again. And up to giant size again. So, made some progress. Getting the interface and controllers and the ability to spin and at least maneuver a bit. I've been studying the Half-Life Alyx game, watching what happens like when you stick your head through the wall, how it automatically blacks you out so that you can't see what's beyond the wall, and how it corrects your position when you try to move while your head is stuck in a wall. Just to get some ideas of what I can do in my own app. And once all of that is done and ready, I can start focusing on some of the other physics implementations that I've been hoping to get to. So it's a work in progress. Hoping within a few weeks I'll have a good solid base to work with, and then I can really start putting something together. I think that's everything that I wanted to show. I'm not yet interpreting the controller using X input, so the left and right trigger are both using the same axis, so that doesn't work very well. I'll have to do that kind of upgrade. I also haven't supported using a controller in flat screen mode to use the UI, where you would use the joystick to move from control to control to click the buttons. That's something else that I'll have to think about. But I'm just trying to get it to a point where the things that I have yet to upgrade are minor and can wait, so I can work on some other things. Thanks for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.